Welcome to Mindful Objective, the podcast where we uncover the root causes of health issues as we explore holistic solutions to help you reclaim your health. I'm Dr. Daniel Sproul, an integrative health practitioner and professor. Today on this episode of Real Talk, join me and a special guest, Gerardo Ortega, as we open up about our personal health journeys. From the ups and downs of migraines, weight changes, and gut issues, to the holistic approaches that helped us heal, we are sharing it all. Expect laughs, insights, and some hard truths about what it really takes to find balance in your health. A quick medical disclaimer: this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only, and we do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. Now grab your tea and let's talk. First up, we'll talk to Gerardo, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and what you do for a living.
Hi, I am 35 years old. I am married. And I have 3 super hyper boys at home. I work for USPS. I am a mailman.
Oh, quick question. How long have you been married?
Since 2011.
Yeah, it's a long time. So, obviously, you're on this different health journey and stuff. What issues have you been experiencing?
As far as the weight loss, me going forward full-time, learning about myself, I've been learning a lot of differences as far as different supplements, eating different, eating better, when I should eat, when I shouldn't be eating, when I've consumed way too much sugar, and when I should cut back.
Gotcha. Just curious, as a postman, how many steps do you usually walk in a day?
25,000 steps.
That's a little excessive.
Oh, yeah.
I barely get that many steps in, so...
I don't know how I do it sometimes when I get home. I have no energy, but these boys definitely keep me and my wife busy.
I bet they do. So when it comes to different kind of like weight loss or stomach issues, what were your symptoms?
I noticed that my anxiety started coming back. I've dealt with anxiety since 2015, and I've learned how to manage it, just cutting sugar and caffeine out of my diet. But once I feel comfortable and I don't feel these symptoms anymore, I go back to more caffeine, more sugar treats. So just about a year ago, I started feeling this again. So that's kind of when I changed my diet. But I feel like this time it was like it was the last straw for me. I didn't want to keep on feeling this way anymore.
Yeah. What do you think your first signs, like with your stomach issues, that became a real problem?
For my stomach issues, it's just a discomfort, knowing that I just can't get up and go to somebody's cookout and eat whatever they're making. I'm very particular on what I eat. It might not be the cleanest, but I already know what my body can and cannot handle.
Yeah. Is dairy one of the issues?
Dairy is the main issue that I deal with.
And the bad thing is dairy's in a lot of different products, so it's kind of hard to always identify those products. So it's, you have to be limited on kind of what you eat. So has that been a problem?
Oh, yes. It is not so much of a problem just because I know where it may affect me and where it may not, but I love ice cream. I love ice cream, so...
Yeah, that's I hear you there. The ice cream causes a lot of issues with a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about your family. Do they support your health journey?
Yes, they do. All 3 boys and my wife noticed a difference in me, so they're also in their own journey as well, getting better, eating healthy, taking supplements.
How do your boys eat? I know it's pretty hard with kids. I mean, my 17-year-old, she's very picky and barely eats anything, so it's kind of hard. So that's where supplementation comes in handy.
Yeah, for the boys, they are picky. I noticed that they've asked for less and less fast food. So now whenever we do get fast food, it's more of a treat for them. But it's mainly all thanks to the wife making home-cooked meals. I know one of their favorites will be like chicken and veggies. Not all the kids like the veggies, but most of the kids. Two out of my 3 love the veggies.
Yeah, it'd be a miracle if I could really get any of my daughters to eat healthy. So it's a struggle. And when you do fast food, do you guys notice a difference when you're eating at home and then go out for fast food afterwards, the taste of the oil, or Anything like that to where you regret it?
Oh yeah, definitely. You take that first bite, even though it tastes good, you know you're not gonna feel the best afterwards. That's why they have that whole topic. Well, not even topic. It's just a whole fast food restaurant. It's like, oh, you want your colon cleanse? Go to Taco Bell. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, that's not good food. Especially we don't know what's in the meats. We don't know different, chemicals in there, but also, heavy metals and then how the meat's prepared. Is it, obviously they're not buying organic meat, hormones in that meat and stuff like that too. So it's always scary eating out. And other thing too is, sometimes you have to request, and a lot of people don't know this, to request your meal to be cooked a certain way. Or like a lot of times I would go out and get chicken at a restaurant and I would always want plain chicken. And then after talking to the owner of the restaurant, finding out they soak their chicken overnight in vinegar and salt.
Wow.
So I think I'm going to go get a plain chicken breast, and no, it's soaked in vinegar and salt. So you learn a lot talking to these different restaurant owners and stuff like that too. So is there any foods or habits you had to give up completely because of your stomach issues?
My biggest one would have to be my late night snacking. I could have a full meal during the day, but 8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around at night, and that's when I would want a Frosted Flake bowl of cereal. Even though I would do my almond milk, it still will affect me. So that's one of my biggest things that I had to give up.
Oh yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough, especially with so many chemicals in foods. It's hard to find good organic foods and quality foods. You have to be very specific and really figure out what you're going to do. And especially if you're used to snacking, you have to alternative ways to snack. It's tough. So I get it. Especially I had a lot of issues with migraines over the years, and like my whole side with my migraines is 10, 12 years of migraines. It's very hard to eat because you never know what's going to trigger a migraine. You don't know if it's stress, if it's something I ate, if it's a supplement I took, if it's a medication I took, if it's something I drank. You have to really know your body. That takes a lot. So did you end up working with any like medical doctors or anything like that with your stomach issues?
No, I have not. This year is the year that I finally fine-tuned my body to where I want to know everything that's going on with it, from all the details to possibly getting like an allergy test for food sensitivities.
Yeah, food sensitivities is a good one because a lot of times the different foods and stuff out there, the big difference on food sensitivities versus allergies is allergies are an instant reaction and food sensitivities are a delayed reaction. So if you eat something on a Monday, you might not have stomach issues till a Friday. So a lot of people don't know that, and a lot of people assume it's based on something they ate that day, and that's not always the case. It's a delayed reaction, so unless you know what you're sensitive to, you really don't know. So it's really hard unless you do an elimination diet, but you have to be very strict and document everything you eat and stuff, and you still have to limit the amount of food you have overall, as you don't want one food, interacting with another food. So it's still a lot to learn. So so what other issues? I know you stomach issues, but did that lead to weight loss?
Yeah. So in the beginning of last year is when my anxiety started sparking up again, and I never knew where it started from. Along with research, as long as you have and heal your own gut, you kind of start curing some of the issues that you have in you. Like, not saying that I cured myself from anxiety, but I'm just saying it's eating better, eating cleaner, lowering my caffeine intake, lowering my sugar intake, taking my supplements, definitely kind of pushed the anxiety away, but as well with getting a stronger gut. That has always been the issue with me.
Yeah, because a lot of people a lot of people don't know that caffeine affects them. So some people do, some don't. Some feel it, some don't feel it. I'm one of those people. I could love caffeine, and I think it doesn't affect me until I get off caffeine for a few weeks. Then I see, well, my sleep changes. I'm not waking up as much, or a lot of times I'd wake up at 2 a.m. and be up till 5 a.m. and then realize, it's because I had caffeine the other day. So it's one of those things you have to kind of eliminate different foods, and it got to be for a while, a few weeks, not just you eliminate it for a day and see a difference. takes a little while to get caffeine out of your system. But two, did you have any aha moments that changed how you approached your health?
Yes. The biggest aha moment for me was I was drinking, I'm going to be honest, I was drinking 3 cherry Pepsis a day along with my coffee and store-bought creamer. So I already knew that might have been an issue. I was weighing at 170 for a while. The minute I cut those two things out, my 3 pops a day and also a flavored creamer, I went down, I lost 20 pounds and everybody noticed right away. They're like, hey man, what did you do? Are you sick? And my biggest thing was like, I hope I'm not, it's like, I hope I'm just doing the right thing by my own body, just by eliminating, things that I shouldn't be having the things in my body already.
Yeah, the another thing too is you dropping that weight and you hearing when people ask you, are you sick? Did that lead to any other anxiety issues?
It didn't, but it also kind of put some thought into my mind thinking, did I do something? May I have something in me that I don't notice, yet? So that's when I got, blood work and last year and everything came up normal. I know my original doctor said, no, you're fine. Your blood work is good. Uh, but I know in me, I still felt off some way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary, especially when our brains take over and we start obsessing on all these news articles we read about cancer and everything and stuff like that too, and sudden weight loss. But I know one thing we need to do too is run like a full set of labs from an integrative health practice and from this side of the house to kind of really take a deep dive into your thyroid and testosterone and your general hormones and adrenal glands, and then kind of go from there. The same with the food sensitivity test. So that's another thing we had to touch on at some point. And so just, with that being said and stuff, how you doing right now based on, our talks in the past and taking supplements and working on protein intake and stuff like that?
From everything that you have recommended to me, I've been doing way better. I would want to say that I don't have any issues or even thoughts of anxiety slowly approaching. I feel like my gut is great. I would want it 100% better. I just don't want to test out my stomach anywhere else and then, have issues. It's like, oh, I guess my body wasn't quite ready for that specific food just yet.
Yeah. And based on food sensitivity tests, you may not, there may be foods you may not want to have because you're just sensitive to them. Like, again, one thing that I may be able to eat, you may not be able to eat, and vice versa. So you have to kind of eliminate and learn, hey, I may never be able to have ice cream again. Or if I do, it has to be an alternative type of ice cream, such as those ice creams out there that are made of, coconut milk, for example. I was big into, with my migraines, coconut milk, and then I found out that was one of my sensitivities, and coconut was causing my migraines. That was one of the causes. So you just never know. Really have to test things out. And again, there's a lot of chemicals in different foods and different ice creams. You just don't know until you try it and see if it works or it doesn't. But when you do introduce something, do not introduce multiple things at once. It's harder said than done, but still try to stay on track.
I agree. One of my biggest things as well that I noticed, now this is me coming from a Mexican household. My mom would always make flautas. It's a deep fried tortilla with some people put ground beef, some people put chicken. But once I would always eat those, within like a half an hour, I would feel like a real like weird stomach ache, I would say. It didn't hurt or anything, but I just felt it. And I gave that up and I noticed a difference. Like, okay, well, I'm not eating that. I'll eat something else that my mom makes. But I know for a fact that for me, my body doesn't handle well with vegetable oil.
Yeah, that was my next question was going to be, what do you think it was the oil? So vegetable oil?
Yeah, vegetable oils. So for me at my house, it's only avocado oil and olive oil.
Yeah, right on. Yep, that's what you guys should be having. Is there any go-to safe meal that never upsets your stomach?
It would be chicken and veggies.
Yeah, which is common because chicken don't have most people don't have reactions to chicken. That's why there's certain kind of, poultry, chicken, turkey, stuff like that. Especially when you're doing like detox and stuff like that. A lot of times those people are not really sensitive to. So that's why there's certain sensitivity diet that you could follow that kind of eliminate a lot of the bad food that causes a lot of inflammation or some kind of reaction to your body. So yeah, it's a good thing to bring up. So another question on here too is, you have the stomach issues, you have weight loss. Did you have any other symptoms? I know, yeah, you said about the anxiety.
Along with the weight loss, I noticed I did lose muscle. And that's one of the biggest topics as well that you and I had touched on when I had reached out to you, that you noticed. And that's when I would say you made a supplement sheet for me specifically for my body, for my needs. And I feel like I'm gaining muscle back. I'm not working out just yet. I will eventually. I've been saying that for the past several years. I will eventually hit the gym. But just me noticing that, okay, the supplements that I'm taking, they're right for me. They don't make my stomach hurt. They're good. They don't make me feel a certain way. I noticed that, if you take them on an empty stomach, of course, they're going to make you feel nauseous. But as long as you're doing them correctly, you're having them with a meal, you will be all right.
Yeah. And as we know, like supplements aren't for everyone and it's individualized. So people shouldn't see an article online. Again, it says, there's different supplements that we do need, such as zinc, D3K2. You may need magnesium, but there's a lot of lab tests you could do to see if you need these supplements. So I know that's our next step is we're going to get into lab testing and, more tailorized approach towards your health. But, I know you took magnesium before. What were the side effects when you took extra magnesium?
I would, when I would take extra magnesium at night, I would get the following day, I would get like a light migraine. Or no, I'm sorry, not a migraine, just like a light headache. So I kind of already knew, all right, you know what? I've only added this additional supplement and now I'm feeling this way. So it's always a process of elimination. The following day, I took my night routine supplements and I did not take magnesium for that night. And I was all right the next day. So it does give me it gives me a light headache the following day.
And how many steps a day did you say you walk?
25,000. That's 13 miles.
Yeah. So, man, it's like a marathon. So at 13 miles a day, do you snack at all during the day?
Oh yeah, I'm a big. I even though I'm in my health journey, I still drink coffee. I make it at home. I'll have it with almond milk. I have my own sweeteners to it. And then on my way to work, I'll have a banana. And then I'll do everything inside the office. Once I'm heading from the office to my route, I may or may not have a little bag of cookies that I took from my kids' school snacks. And that's what I snack on with my coffee. I'll do a couple blocks. And depending on what I have in my lunchbox, if it's either a granola bar, a couple of the Mandarin Cuties, along with an apple. Then that's when, a couple blocks later, that's when my lunch comes in, and that would just be a bag of chips and my sandwich.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a struggle diet wise. I think everybody can relate to that. That it's hard to be perfect and eat healthy 100% of the time. Same with drinks, right? There's a lot of times we crave a pop or something, and that's okay to have. It's just one of those things. Everything's okay in moderation, and if you know it affects you, kind of take it out of your diet. And again, we strive for 100%, but you got to do what you got to do. And so, slowly eliminate as you go, kind of tweak your health, see improvements, then tweak it more. But again, everybody out there got to know nobody's perfect. It's hard to do this. And if we strive for perfection all the time, it's going to drive us insane. And that's where a lot of failure occurs. So that's where it's like, you just know, hey, I'm going to be out a lot or walking a lot of miles, maybe certain kind of protein bar you take with you, some kind of healthy snack. Again, having kids, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you have healthy snacks. Then some of these healthy snacks are horrible tasting, then it's like, well, can I just bring a protein shake? Can I bring a protein bar? Can I just substitute with, different kind of amino acids out there? There's different supplementations you could take, but just, again, just everybody out there that's listening, just know, it's hard to be perfect out there. So don't expect, we're not perfect, and we don't expect you to be. And that's where we work on this together, and it takes time. And, just a little touch on my health journey is, I suffer with migraines 12 to, 14 years. That's where I went to so many different doctors. And throughout that journey, it's been one of those things where I've been with so many different doctors that, hey, do take this medication, take this medication. And the medications did not help whatsoever. If anything, they caused worsening symptoms. So it got to the point where, I had to do this health journey on my own, do a lot of research. That's what led to me going for my doctoral. And, that's over a course of 10, 12 years. And that led to me getting certification in nutrition as an integrative health practitioner, in Ayurveda, naturopathy, and so on. But I had to learn a lot of this on my own, right? You see a lot of stuff online that talk about, these different supplements that can help. I took a lot of supplements, trying stuff, and learned they cause more problems. So it's one of those things to where I wanted to really learn this for myself. I wanted to learn what supplements work for me, what don't, what food works for me, what don't. Everything for me was a trigger. So if I, ate a bag of chips, it would trigger a migraine. If I ate certain vegetables, it would trigger a migraine. If I would drink certain things, it would trigger a migraine. Got to the point where everything would trigger a migraine, to where I didn't want to eat anything, I didn't want to drink anything. So it was horrible. So still to this day, I struggle with sensitivities. So I watch what I eat, watch what I do. My migraines used to be 7 days a week at a pain level of anywhere from an 8 to a 10, to right now, if I get a migraine, it's maybe 1 or 2 a month at a pain level of like a 1 or a 2. So big difference. So when it went to like different doctors and stuff, it was a big struggle, So it got to the point where I didn't trust the medical practice at all. Now, if you get in a car accident, you have a heart attack, definitely use Western medicine. Go to the hospital, go to the doctor. But if your day-to-day life, I wouldn't use a medical doctor. I would focus more on integrative health, identifying issues with your body, identifying where you're deficient, testing your thyroid, testing your hormones, understanding your sensitivities, understanding your gut bacteria, and, kind of tweak that and see where you end up. Because a lot of times medications cause a lot of problems. I'm not saying medication's bad, but for some people, medications are not the way, right? Some is supplementation. Another thing too, we'll touch on is supplementation's not forever. So you may go through a different protocol that may last, 3 to 6 months, and then you get off that supplementation. But again, you're seeing a lot of people that don't have the experience or knowledge out there. They're telling people buy all these supplementations, and they don't really need it. So yeah, it's been a fun journey.
For me to ask you, what was the worst migraine experience that you've ever had?
Oh man. During that time frame when I wasn't, medications, nothing would work. I would have, that straight migraine 7 days a week that are, that pain level of a 10. And people would wonder, how do you function in life? Because a lot of people get migraines, they have to lay down and stuff like that and be in a dark room. For me, if I got a migraine, or if I still do get a migraine, I have to be very active. I don't want to lay down, because if I lay down, I get that heartbeat in my head. I don't want that. It makes the pain worse. So I just learned, I know each person's different, but for me, it's, again, remain active and do whatever it takes to kind of not think about the migraine, go grocery shopping, go to the gym, do these things, and just go from there.
Was there a specific diet change that made a big difference for you?
Yeah, expect sugar. Sugar was a big one that a lot of people don't realize. Increase in protein intake and decrease in sugar. And same, taking supplements like berberine to kind of control blood sugar has been helpful.
Okay. As well, how do you manage stress to prevent migraines from flaring up? Because I've dealt with them as well. I don't know if it's just me having so much in my mind that I running around after work, doing this, doing that. For me, I've noticed that I would get a headache, And instead of reaching for a Tylenol, I would think to myself, do I go with a Tylenol? And with me doing all my own research on how not to take any of like ibuprofens because it may or may not mess up your stomach lining, I would go to McDonald's and I'll go get a Coke, because that gets rid of my headache. And I think it might just be the sugar, it might be the caffeine in it. But for you, how do you prevent them?
Yeah. Funny thing you say about McDonald's Coke is like, that's the first thing I think everybody thinks of. Like McDonald's has the best Coke you could get, right? Um, yeah, I don't know if it's that pseudo effect that you think, yeah, I'm going to have this Coke and I know it's going to get rid of my migraine and it's all in our head, or if it actually works. And sometimes maybe it's the caffeine, right, in that Coke. But what I realize now after eliminating Coke is Coke is a trigger for me. So if I decide, hey, my migraine's a little bit, go get a Coke, it'll get a little better. And then hours later, it's super severe. So now I know to eliminate that. But to reduce stress, a lot of times it's, just one, not thinking about that migraine. Once you think about it, it gets that 10 times worse. So not thinking about it, trying not to think about it, keeping your brain busy doing other things, but also get more involved in, working out, get involved into practices like yoga or Tai Chi, because a lot of times it's based on tension in the body, right? It could be, your migraines may be caused based on disc issues or based on, compression of a nerve. So maybe relaxing that and building strength in your neck and your body kind of helps with that. So that's where my yoga is a big go-to for me. And my latest kind of thing is that DDP yoga. It kind of similar to yoga, but different. It's more, sport based, and it's great. There's a lot of success stories in DDP yoga, so something you should look into.
Okay. For me to ask you this, what would you recommend? I'm on the middle of my day working. I'm delivering mail. I get a headache. I'm going, and each step I take, each block that I continue, it'll start growing. And it could be in the front of my forehead, on top of my forehead. And each step I take per customer's house, I just feel it just throbbing. It's not as easy for me to say, hey, you know what? Let me take a breather for 20 minutes, because they're watching me, So it's like, is there something that you would recommend? At that point, for me, it's like, do I take a supplement that might, help me out? Would you recommend me? I know ultimately staying away from the sugar, staying away from the caffeine, staying away from pop in general. Is there anything you would do different or that you could recommend me?
Well, one, identifying the root cause of your migraine. Are you getting it because you're not eating throughout the day? Do you notice anything like when it comes to that? Are you not eating when you get these migraines, or you don't really pay attention?
I don't really notice, but I know it's like, for me, like I said, going to my route, I'll drink my coffee, I'll have some cookies, and that's already sugar already. Then I'll do a couple blocks, and whether I do a fruit, an apple, or even a granola bar. I know that's me putting in more sugar in my system, so I don't know if it could just be my body craving more sugar. And it's like, if I give it pop, that's just me adding more to my body, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of hard without identifying the root cause. If it is sugar based, obviously change the diet. And other thing I know we didn't touch much on was like electrolytes. Do you do any electrolytes?
I started doing electrolytes, yes, and they are phenomenal. I started drinking them this past winter, and I am curious to know how well they're going to hold up for me in the summer in the hot heat.
Yeah, you might have to increase your intake of electrolytes, but that's a big thing that helped my migraines was doing electrolytes every day and a good amount of water, because so many people overdo it with water and dehydrate their body. A lot of, you hear from a lot of different doctors and, news and everything out there, drink a lot of water. But what people don't know is water depletes you of electrolytes. So if you drink tons of water, you deplete your body of sodium, magnesium, and all those, calcium. So one thing you got to do is increase your electrolytes and your water intake. So, it's good, get some kind of product out there. A lot of people just, a pinch of sea salt in their water every morning. I use actual electrolytes in my water. There's a couple different brands out there, but the main one I'm using right now is Body Health's electrolyte. mix, which has amino acids in it, and I like that a lot. But since I started doing that, electrolytes have been one of my main things to help my migraines.
Nice. One of the things that I do, the first thing I do in the morning when I get off of bed is I'll go and fill up a cup of water, filtered, and then I'll just do a pinch of Celtic salt under my tongue, just like whatever little for me, I notice that it doesn't have to be like a full tablespoon or not even a tablespoon, like a quarter spoon. But for me, it's just a tiny pinch under my tongue, chug some water down, and I notice that it kind of gets my body moving earlier in the morning.
Yeah. So what supplements are you on right now?
The supplements for my night routine would be vitamin D, D3, K2, zinc, vitamin C, and for us, we just reloaded on the fish oil one, so that would be a part of it as well. And then when I know either when I'm off or when I have like a hefty meal in the morning, that's when I will take my multivitamin.
Yeah. So I know you had issues too, and a lot of people do. I do, especially like when it comes to protein. Like I had issues if I take whey protein, certain kind of whey, but I know whey is big on my sensitivity list. Did you notice too when you try to implement any kind of protein, any stomach issues?
Yeah, so I started taking regular protein, but it was a milk base, so I would have to take my lactate and my lactate enzymes, and I didn't want to keep on taking them. So then I moved from regular conventional pre-made protein drinks to the Owen brand, which is a pea. It is a pea protein, and I noticed that it's like slowly I started getting discomfort in my stomach. So you and I had talked, and you pretty much, well, you narrowed it down, and you told me that my body is not breaking down properly the pea whey protein.
Yeah, which is common. So that's where there's a lot of options out there. But two, it's, maybe your food's just sensitive to other ingredients within that protein shake. So it's really hard to tell until you do a food sensitivity test. And, again, hopefully we do that by our next show to kind of go over kind of what you're sensitive to. And you'll be shocked by certain things. Because one of the things before I did my food sensitivity test, I used to have almonds all the time. Then I started noticing, by eliminating other foods that I would have almonds or a protein bar with almonds, and then 2 days later get the worst migraine ever. Then come to find out, do food sensitivity tests, that almonds were really high that I was having a reaction to. So it's one of those things you just don't know, and you have to slowly eliminate stuff out of your diet. But it's not fun, man, and especially because we have kids. I mean, my kids are older, 17-year-old daughter and 22-year-old or 23-year-old daughter, and kind of we're all similar, right? We have the MTHFR gene. We have sensitive to different foods and stuff like that too. But it's one of those things we each gotta learn how to find foods we like, supplements we like, and kind of go down that path. But it's definitely tough. But how is it with your kids? They have any issues to eating anything right now?
No, thankfully they're not. My oldest, that man's growing. So and I think this is why one of the bigger reasons why we try to avoid fast food restaurants now, because it's like this man's eating like a full grown man now. So, when we started with one kid, we were able to stay under $20, but now you add a second and a third, it's like a $50 bill right there. But so that's why now we treat those as like little treats for them, not every other day, it's maybe once a week, maybe twice, because we're celebrating something.
Yeah. So what's one thing you wish you knew earlier about your health?
What's one thing I wish? I would have to say picking the right doctor. Picking the right doctor, a transparent doctor, a doctor that's there to help you out, not just a guy that you're fine. How I said earlier, I got my blood work back last year and he said, I'm fine, but I knew in my body wasn't running good. Once I started taking supplements and my levels on their own kind of started getting back up, I started feeling a lot better.
Yeah, there's a lot of great medical doctors out there and a lot of very bad medical doctors. So again, a lot of medical doctors are trained to treat symptoms versus an integrative health practitioner focused on, subclinical, going based to find the root causes. So there's a big difference there. So a lot of people do not know about, identifying root causes. A lot of people just focus and know only about medical doctors. The one thing everybody needs to realize is your doctor works for you. So if you're not getting the answers you need, and they're not giving you the right information, find a new doctor. So one thing is, we are teaming up with different doctors and stuff in the area to kind of train them on the integrative health side, but kind of partner up to where they find clients and stuff that do not want pharmaceuticals, or they want to, identify their gut bacteria. They want to be on the right supplementation. That's not a specialty of medical doctors, right? But us on the integrative health side, that's where you want to go. Again, we're subclinical. We're not clinical. We look for the root causes versus a medical doctor treating the symptoms. So a lot of people don't know that. Again, it's based on education. So that's where we're here. Kind of referred Gerardo to a different medical doctor for a certain amount of tests. And then the other side, we'll work on the subclinical side. We'll run, gut bacteria tests and food sensitivity tests, full thyroid panels, full hormone panels, kind of identify further issues with his health, kind of go from there. Is there any holistic remedy you swear by currently?
From the top of my head,
for me, night and day difference is like a D3K2 and zinc. I would say those two have been huge for me, especially when it comes to sleep, hormone regulation. Again, it's night and day difference. But a lot of people don't know that they take D3 and they have blood tests done, and hey, they took it for 1 month and they said, hey, my levels didn't go up. Just so you know, it usually takes an average of 6 months for optimal levels of vitamin D3. So just because you take it for a month, it's a long-term commitment you have to do with any of these. Same with, there's many times where we tell people, hey, you keep getting sick, take some vitamin C. One is they'll take vitamin C and say, oh, I eat an orange a day. Well, to have enough vitamin C, you need to eat probably 300 oranges a day. So it's better to take supplementation there. And then the other thing too, it takes, 30, 60 days for your vitamin C levels to really get up in your body, for the vitamin C to really work for you. So it's not overnight thing. It's kind of like, if you go to a medical doctor for anxiety, they may say, hey, here's a pharmaceutical pill, and it may take 6 weeks to get your blood levels up to work. Same thing. You listen to your medical doctor, listen to your health coach. It's going to take a couple months to get your levels up. So it's not something overnight. So again, it's a long time journey.
But one of the biggest things for me is that I notice is that if I don't take my supplements the night before, or I don't do a multi the morning of, I notice a difference. I know some of these, it takes a while to kick in, but I think the fact that my body has been taking these for such a long time now, that when I go 1 day without them, my body kind of doesn't know how to act yet. It's like, hey, what's going on? Why haven't you given my minerals, my supplements in yet? So, but that's one thing that I've noticed, kind of like a big difference though.
Yeah, that tells you how deficient your body is on the supplements. There's one myth, I thought I'd bring this up. One myth about migraines or gut health that needs to go, I would say, is that you need pharmaceuticals to kind of heal your body. There's other ways to do it. You got to look for that root cause, your imbalances. And a lot of people, again, it's educational based. A lot of people don't understand that they're deficient in different vitamins and minerals. That's where nutrition comes into play. But I think that goes both for migraines and gut health. You may go to your medical doctor and, here's a prescription, this should help you, and then end up worse. Or, you have acid reflux and then they never tested your stomach acid. And then by the time they do test your stomach acid, you're on acid reflux medications for years to find out you actually had low stomach acid, because it's very rare to have high stomach acid. So again, it's all educational based. A lot of people don't know these things, but that's where we're trying to go with these podcasts and with our integrative health practice. So yeah, it's a lot to learn, and but we have the time to do it. So again, don't rush your body. Take your time. Work with a great health coach to get where you need to be.
If you could create a migraine survival kit, what would be in it?
100% would be electrolytes and I would have to say that's a good question. I'd say definitely electrolytes. That's probably been a game changer for me. That and the right amount of protein and limit sugar.
Now, for mindful injection, you have a full script account. Are you able to make these not so much a survival kit, but for deficiencies for people? So I know there's people out there that want to start their, supplement journey, but they're semi lost. They don't know too much about health coaches. They don't know what they should be getting themselves into. Um, is that something that you're able to add to Full Script as a like an additional page? Like, hey, on this side of the page or of the website, you can already kind of get these pre-made or pre-packaged deals.
Yeah, we're working on developing different protocols for different kind of symptoms and stuff out there for those, with weight issues, right? We'll touch on, these supplements can be beneficial. So we'll have protocols out there on the website. They should be posted in the next month or so. The downside is every body is different. So what works for one, again, may not work for another. And that's where we go with our intake form to kind of understand people's health journeys, kind of medications they're on, what they tried, what worked, what hasn't worked, to kind of understand their individual needs as, again, one-way approach will not work for everybody. So that's why we could recommend certain supplements that do work for certain people, but some people may take those and have a lot of issues. So it's always better to work with a health coach to get individualized not treatment, but kind of individualized protocol that kind of will help you on your health journey.
Okay. Well, let's just say this. I'm a new person to you. What are the steps? I guess I would say, what's the process like? Do I reach out to you? Of course, obviously, but I reach out to you, and then what's like the pecking order that you would do?
So initially you would reach out, show your interest and what you're interested in. We would send you an intake form for you to fill out electronically. It's kind of a health questionnaire, kind of goes over, who's your medical doctor, what pharmaceuticals are you on, how's your diet, who have you worked with, what supplementations are you on, what have you tried, how long you've been experiencing these different symptoms, and, your overall understanding of who you are as a person and your health issues. And then once we have that all done, then we schedule a consultation with you to kind of review that. It'll be an initial intake consultation. Once we go through the intake consultation, we come up with a protocol or lab test that you may need. Once we go through that, then we'll schedule different health coaching calls with either myself or one of our integrative health practitioners, our health coaches, to kind of go over the protocol specific to your individual needs. And usually what we try to do is it's never beneficial for a one-time phone call because, again, it takes time to heal your body. So a lot of times what we'll do is like a 3 to 6 month package and go from there. Again, we're cash-based only. So, we take cash, credit card. We do not take insurance. The reason for that is insurance restricts the kind of work we can do with a client. So we do not take insurance. And this kind of opens it up to different protocols and different discussions without having any regulation there.
Very nice. One question I did have for you. If you had to describe your health journey in 3 words, what would they be?
Long. I would say in 3 words. Definitely, I guess I'd say very, very long because I wanted my migraines gone overnight. And that wasn't the case. Another thing, too, I always struggle with weight, right? And every time I tested my thyroid's good. My diet's good, clean diet, exercise, but still struggle with weight, struggle with migraines. And I know we didn't touch on it before, and I know we're kind of running out of time here, but when it comes to migraines, if you don't have a migraine and you want to go work out, you're hesitant on working out, or, even with your stomach issues, I see this and I thought, oh man, I feel good today. I'm going to go work out. Then I go work out and I get a bad migraine from lifting weights. So, or it's because, after I lifted weights, I'm fine, but because I had a certain amount of protein, it caused the migraine. So it was a very long journey to understand what foods are causing the issues, kind of understand the way medical doctors were sending me in all these different directions and tests, where I was getting with that. And that was taking me backwards. One step forward, I was 5 steps backwards working with a neurologist and medical doctor, to where it got to the point where I had to really learn this myself. And it's no fault of the medical doctors, right? They're trained in certain things and they help where they can help. But for my perspective is, they do not know my body, and they do not know how I feel after taking something they think should work for me that doesn't work. So I had to go on this journey myself. And then, it got to the point where I met, I met other, functional practitioners and naturopaths and stuff out there in the field that kind of put me on a good path, good mentorship to kind of guide me. This is what you need to test. This is what you need to look into, to where that got me involved in this career. So again, it was a long, long journey, and I'm glad I am where I am today. But it doesn't stop. We have to continue evolving, continue learning, and go from there. So just to kind of wrap things up, is there any other stuff on your side you want to discuss?
From right now, out of the top of my head, I do not. But I know once I leave, as soon as we end the episode, it's going to be like, oh, I should have asked this and this. But that's for anybody, especially going to go see a new doctor. Does anything hurt? No. As of right now, though, it's just for my health journey. It is a work in progress. I'm happy to say that you are my mentor for all of this.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Thank you for that. And so yeah, it's a long journey. So don't expect everything to happen overnight. Takes time to heal. So don't feel bad. So again, to wrap things up, we've covered a lot today, from navigating migraines to overcoming digestive struggles and unexpected weight loss. If you're dealing with similar challenges, know you're not alone. Healing is a journey and it takes time. There's no one fit size solution for all, but the right approach, progress is possible. The most important thing is to be patient with yourself. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's okay. Listening to your body, making small, sustainable changes, working closely with a trusted health coach or practitioner can help you uncover what truly supports your healing. Whether it's adjusting your diet, managing stress, or finding the right supplements, every step forward counts. Stay committed to your journey, and remember, healing is possible. You deserve to feel your best, and with time, the right support, and personalized approach, you will get there. Thanks for tuning in to Mindful Objective. If you found this episode Real Talk helpful, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Mindful Objective, or visit us at mindfulobjective.com for more tips and resources. Bonus for our listeners, we offer 20% off retail on supplements and healthcare products. Visit our website to learn more. If you have a show question or suggestion, visit mindfulobjective/podcasts to fill out the form and send us your question. I may cover it in a future episode. Again, this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time for more insights on health and wellness. Stay well.